As a 25-year mortgage veteran, I pride myself on being one that can master work-life balance through intermediate meditation, through working out and spending time with family and friends. It helps you stay focused on the task at hand. Deals and Dollars with Don was created to help those people that don't have the experience of getting those deals to the table. We show you how to get the deals, how to get them to the table, and how to enjoy life at the same time. Welcome to Deals and Dollars with Don. Hey, welcome to Deals and Dollars with Don. I'm Don Blaize. Welcome to the podcast where real estate, wealth building, and business strategies collide. I'm here with Randy Richardson in episode 2. First, I want to give a shout out to Cindy Ertman, who joined us in episode 1 for the 5 pillars of $1 million producer. But now we're going to talk a little bit about branding with our special guest, Randy Richardson. Let me do a little intro on him. Today's guest is someone who truly lives his brand both online and off. Randy Richardson. Randy is a Gulf Coast native and a powerhouse broker associate with Century 21 J. Carter & Company. In just a few years, he built a personal brand that became a household name across the Mississippi Gulf Coast. The numbers speak for themselves: over $120 million in closed sales and nearly 400 transactions. That's crazy, dude.
It is.
He's the founder of the Forthright Team, a community leader and a national recognized top agent. He's been featured in Top Agent magazine, named to Tom Ferry's America's Best, and even earned a Realtor Community Champion Award. But beyond the accolades, Randy understands that your brand isn't just your logo or your colors, it's how people feel when they work with you. So today we're unpacking his branding blueprint, how he built it, and why branding is more important than ever for agents who want to stand out. Randy, welcome to the show.
Hey Don, how are you?
I'm doing great.
I appreciate you having me.
It's been a couple. My first podcast you've done. You're like the expert here.
I'm not.
I don't know,
but I've done a couple.
But what you are an expert in is branding. From day one, you came out of the gate in real estate not too long ago. It was right
about 9 years ago.
So it was before COVID.
Yep.
And you just came out of the gate killing it. So let's start here. When you first got into real estate, what did you think branding meant, and how has that changed now that you built one of the strongest brands in the market? Because if you're looking to sell buy, I know a guy, right? Looking to sell or buy, I know a guy. So how's it changed from when you started to now?
So to kind of give a backstory, I worked for Coca-Cola for 13 years before I got into real estate.
Everybody knows that's a brand.
So that's a brand, and that's where I think branding was beat into my head and into my thought process. We had to go into stores and face everything. It all had to be a certain way, and it was branding on our vehicles, branding on our clothing, branding on, everywhere you turned, it had Coca-Cola on it, and it's the #1 recognized brand in the world.
Right. So you see that logo, you know exactly
what it is. Even if you can't read it, you know exactly what it says.
So how do you define branding, especially for real estate agents?
So I think, in my opinion, branding goes with you need to kind of figure out what you want your business to be, and stick with it, and make a brand. Like, for instance, you want anything that's going to keep you top of mind with your friends, family, and anybody you run into. And with me, I like to, if you're looking to sell or buy, I know a guy.
Yeah.
So I use that on everything. And people on the coast. It's
become a household name.
People on the coast know that. It's on my car tag. It's on my hats, my shirts. It's everywhere.
You're the guy.
And so I'm that guy.
Do you think a lot of agents confuse branding with marketing? Because there's a huge difference. Branding is who you are versus marketing is not. So do you think they confuse it a lot?
I do. And I would like to say you're branding yourself, you're marketing your properties. But I think branding, and I wrote a couple of notes, so I'm going to kind of read some of it, but branding is who relates to you and your lifestyle, your brand, what you do every day on and off, or in and out of the market, so to speak, as a realtor.
Right.
And then I think it's who you are comes across in your brand. And then when you market, I feel like it's the message that you want to get in front of people, and it's how it gets there.
Right.
So marketing is how your brand gets out.
And the brand is who you are.
And the brand is who you are.
All right. So when you were getting started, do you have a strategy for how you wanted to be perceived, or did it kind of organically evolve?
So I had some great leadership, I will say that, and I'll give props to Jason Bergdorf and Thad
at Powermark
McIntyre. So I feel like the number one thing I learned from them was you want to stay top of mind, and that's where branding comes in. But I think my brand specifically and what I wanted to do kind of different was I reached out to any and everybody that I could talk to, friends, family, people that I went to church with, people that I grew up with, people that I work with, anything like that I could talk to. And I asked them one simple question was, what are your dislikes and your likes about real estate? What are your thoughts on a real estate agent? And
what'd you get back?
So
I will say that's a good question.
It is, and I did. I wanted to make sure that in business I overcame those objectives. So when that was the question that I asked, and the number one response that I got back, negative wise, because there was a lot of positive stuff, but negative was they don't answer the phone.
Yeah.
They don't call you back.
Yeah.
So communication was a key, and then I think the second thing was trying to find them, trying to figure out which one you want to use.
A lot of them don't live up to their brands.
Correct. And I think that's your lifestyle, your brand has to plug in. Like it has to be a representative of you.
So was there a moment that like a wow where it clicked, where you said like, okay, my brand is working, looking to sell or buy, I know a guy, where it's just like, okay, it's clicking, it's working. Was there a moment?
So I've got two. One happened early on, and it was, I'm not going to mention any names, but there's other agents, and there's a specific agent on the coast that every time I see her, the first thing out of her mouth is, I know a guy. Hey, I know a guy, and things like. And when your peers and your other agents that work with you, they realize and they start talking about the brand, I kind of feel like it worked.
Yeah. So it was kind of like, but did you think every guy when she says I know a guy, you're like, it's me?
Yeah.
Because I'm the guy.
And
she's like, I just laugh about it. But yeah, you are the guy.
And then I will say the second thing happened about probably 6 months or so ago. I got a call from South Carolina, Charleston area, on the water at a bar. And it was like 9 o'clock in the morning on a Saturday, our time. And the guy says, hey, I got a question for you. And I said, okay. And he said, well, how are you connected? And he mentioned some other real estate agent in, I want to say it was in Oklahoma or somewhere, that I'd never heard of. Obviously. And I said, I don't know. I don't know how to answer that. He said, well, let me tell you where I'm at right now. He said, I'm sitting in a bar. I'm getting ready to get on my boat, and I have a koozie in my hand that has your information on it. And it also, on the flip side, has his information. He's in South Carolina at a bar.
Okay.
And it has, on the other side, it has the Oklahoma agent's name and contact.
You had never met.
And I don't know how that, because I have koozies.
Right.
And they have my information on them, but it's not like, but it had my information on one side and his information on the other side. And the only thing I can figure out is maybe the lady I get my koozies from, maybe she does some for him too. And it was a misprint somehow or another.
Hey, but it worked.
But how it ended up in South Carolina, and it ended up with me getting a call from this guy. I got him to send me pictures.
I hope that was on social media.
I'm like, I did not put it on social media yet, but I do have pictures of it. And I mean, literally, it's him and a group of his friends sitting in South Carolina in a bar.
So you got the koozies and the hats.
Yep.
Were there 2 or 3 things that you did earlier in your career with branding that you just really paid off, that really was just kind of like, okay, this is good?
Yeah, I do the hats, I do T-shirts, I do koozies. Koozies really work well for me because I'm a boater.
You're a boater.
I'm on the water nonstop, so I'm at restaurants and places like that I can drop them off with. So I do that. I Mardi Gras parades, they go out, all the Mardi Gras parades. So, and it's typically the good thing, it's a business card that people don't throw away.
Yeah, that's true. That really is true.
I will say that I do have it on T-shirts, hats. I have regular hats as well.
Yeah, I mean, I got a big head, but that's a little big for me.
Obnoxious.
I can think of somebody.
But when I go to travel, I do wear hats, and I wear a hat. I try to wear one every time I travel.
Right.
And it's never failed in an airport somewhere. Somebody's going to mention, and we're going to drum up a conversation about real estate just from the logo being on the hat.
Well, I mean, you clearly built something like people recognize. Obviously, looking to sell or buy, I know a guy, people go to it, you are the guy. But branding isn't just what you post, it's how you show up in every interaction. So how important has social media been in your branding? I mean, are there certain platforms you think agents must be on today?
So I think all platforms are important. I mean, but I'll say it also depends on what your target audience is.
Well, yeah, my marketing assistant made me get on TikTok, and I was like, don't really do Chinese food, but I'm like, she's like, it's a different demographic.
It
You're
is.
going to get a different audience. The engagements are different. So now I'm ticking the talking.
Right, you're talking the tick, huh? But I'll say this, and I give, and you know my wife, but I give my wife a lot of credit because she does have a marketing degree, and that's where her background is. So she has helped with the marketing side of it all. So I give her credit where credit's due.
So is she your go-to app?
She is, yes. Marcella.
I mean,
She's my Siri.
Yeah, I mean, everybody needs I guess a Marcella / Siri.
Right, yeah. But I will say, I think I go back to it's your target market,
Right.
your target audience, because they say, Instagram is for younger generations.
Facebook's for the old people like me.
People like us. And then, you've got TikTok, and you've got, I don't even know what it's called now, but it's
X.
X.
Yeah.
So you've got that.
I got kicked out. I don't even know why. But I don't care enough to get out of that jail.
Yeah, that's fine.
And then LinkedIn.
And I'm not even on it. And then lead gen, or not lead. LinkedIn. I'm on there. I don't post there, but that's like professional,
right?
More so than.
Yeah.
But I do know agents that get leads from that.
Well, I mean, it's really good if you're using that with your branding to go after financial advisors, divorce attorneys, things
Right.
like that. But if you got to have the brand intact in order to do it, because you just throw like random messages out, you're not going to get anything back.
I will say that with branding, with social media, I think it's very important to mix your content. Like if you just do, if I as a real estate agent just do strictly real estate posts, then it's going to turn my audience off.
Right.
I feel like people relate to you because you're you.
They got to show you a little bit of personality.
You have to show who you are,
all of that great
and what
stuff.
your brand is, but not necessarily in preaching about
But
it.
do you think that agents should have like a niche type of thing? I mean, you got a niche thing being
I do.
the guy, and
I do.
They're the first time home they specialize, or is it better to be broad?
So I will say this, and I wrote the quote down. A jack of all trades, a master of none.
I wonder where you got that from.
So the issue that I have there is I don't say you need to niche in just one, but a few maybe, areas in real estate will work out good. If you try to do, you're the land guy, you're the commercial guy,
Right.
you're the home guy, you're the
First time home buyer guy, you're
condo
the VA
guy, you're the rental guy, that just throws out so many avenues that people get lost trying to find you. But if you narrow down to 2 or 3, maybe 4 different avenues, it's a lot easier for people to find you.
Is it
in what
harder
you
for a
do.
realtor though to stay within their brand? It's
think
kind of
so.
like if your brand is this, it's just there's other things out there. You're like, ooh, squirrel. Like,
Yes.
So focusing on the brand, I think I see a lot of agents have like a hard time.
It takes
with.
work.
It takes a lot of
It
work.
takes a lot of patience, a lot of work. And one thing I will say is stay like consistent with it. And I think that's one thing that I've done with my brand is stayed to where when we post on Facebook, when we post
Obviously,
on Instagram,
120 million in sales.
It's something that we consistently do, and it's even for the team. I've kind of carried that over from my brand to the team brand. We have footers that we put on everything, and they all look alike. It's
consistency.
It's consistency.
So whenever they see,
so when
think
you
of
see my brand,
and
you
your
know
team.
who it is without even looking and reading it.
Right. That is awesome. So start out early. You've been doing it a couple of years now. What's a mistake that you made, or maybe something you see other agents doing that totally hurts their brand? And I think we kind of talked about it a little bit.
We did. I think if they, like you said, squirrel
the
off
lane.
and stay in your lane, I think is one big avenue. And then also, I think, you have to choose a brand that relates to things that you're interested in and what you represent. So if you're off, say on social media doing this, like if I go run races or I'm really big into health, but my brand says that I'm out drinking, going to a bar, and hanging out on a boat, then those two things don't really mesh as much.
So in that case, because everybody starts out with like one brand or one system, but everything kind of evolves. They kind of like metamorphosize into thing. Is there
It changes along the way?
It changes, but have you ever felt like you needed to pivot your brand to kind of change the direction it was going?
Not yet, and I say yet strongly. I have done different things with stickers on vehicles and things like that I don't think worked. So I've kind of pivoted there, but I've never changed the brand. Not to say that I won't have to, and I'm open to that. I guess I go to the quote where if it's not broke, don't fix it.
Right.
So it's working.
But it eventually has to grow.
But eventually it has to grow.
Right.
And so I think there's definitely some things there. I guess what I would say is I have focused less on the personal brand once I started growing my team.
Yep.
And I've kind of grown that brand more, or tried to.
But you stayed consistent, or did you stay within your core brand of Look and Sell by I Know a Guy, or did you kind of pivot to more of like a team thing?
Yeah, I think so. When we did the Forthright team, I started branding more of my social media as well as the team stuff as the Forthright team.
Okay.
So, but I don't think I've ever lost that Look and Sell by I Know a Guy brand.
Right. So my brand is saying that this is the perfect time to take a break. What about you? So we're going to take a quick little break. We'll be right back in a few minutes for some more Q&A on branding. We are back from the break here with Randy Richardson. We are talking today all about branding with Looking to Sell It By I Know a Guy, Randy Richardson. So Randy, we were talking about where there was a point where you were thinking about maybe kind of pivoting or not pivoting because you got your team, all that great stuff. And that's the amazing kind of transparency that agents need, because let's face it, branding isn't a one and done. It evolves with you. There's not a lot of agents that evolve their brand. I know I had this one loan officer, and she was like, well, my husband's military, so I'm going to be a military loan officer. But and starts the brand, but doesn't really take it to that next level. It doesn't evolve it, right?
You have to follow through. You have to follow through. And I think there again, it goes to the word of the day, I think, is be consistent. You have to be consistent with it. And
I think that's the hardest thing with anything.
It's just
100% showing up daily, right?
100%.
Even when you're exhausted and you're like tired, you're like, I don't want to do a video. I don't want to be the guy.
I talked to an agent today, and she went and showed, I think it was Friday, and she said, I got there and the husband showed up, but there was no wife. And she asked her, where's your wife at? Or if we're going to see this house, if y'all like it. Oh, well, she didn't feel good today. She stayed home. She had a headache or something. And the agent looked at me. She said, so did I.
I showed up.
But I was there. Like, if you're going to take it seriously in a career and all that, if you're going to make it your life, you have to make it your lifestyle. Like, it has to be your brand.
This is not a part-time gig.
Not at all.
I don't know why anyone ever thought that real estate was a part-time gig, but that's a whole nother.
That's a whole different podcast.
That's a whole nother podcast. Okay, back on subject. Squirrel. Okay, favorite brand outside of real estate that inspires you?
So I've got two.
Okay.
I would say Nike is one.
Okay.
Because and there's a reason behind it. Of course, I'm a shoe guy, so I like Nikes as far as that. But then,
how many pairs of shoes do you have?
Probably about 150 to 175 pairs.
And so there's Marcella's good with that too.
Yeah, she's fine with it.
She buys what she wants. She buys.
That's it.
Looking to sell or buy. I know a guy.
But I like it. But I like the Nike brand itself because you can see the word Nike and know what it is, or you can see the check mark and know what it is. Like, they don't have to.
Is that a check mark or a swoosh?
Swoosh, check mark, whatever you want to call it. But it's their signature logo, so to speak.
Is that two, or is that your second or your first?
That's my first one.
Okay, that's your favorite.
That's my favorite one.
Okay, well-
and then my second one would be Porsche.
Isn't that just a horse?
No, Porsche.
A Porsche, yeah. But what's the? Say, I don't even think
It's
of.
just cars, and
it's a
and
gorgeous
really,
car.
and it doesn't matter. You don't have to have one. You don't have to even like Porsches, but you know that logo, and you see it, and you know what Porsches, you know what
it is.
What it is.
So my top two. Number two is McDonald's, because I mean
the arches.
We grew up in the Golden Arches, right? So it's anywhere you see that, you think of that. And then my first is Target. Whoever thought that a round circle with another round circle in the middle would immediately be a $1 trillion brand?
Yep.
It's amazing. One word that defines your brand.
We've said it a couple of times.
Got it.
Consistent.
Consistency. Yeah.
Consistency. I think that is one thing that, and I asked 2 or 3 different people when you sent me the questions that we were going to kind of go over. I asked 2 or 3 different people to get input, and honestly, that was all 3 of them that
was consistency.
Said that. I was trying to figure out a different word because I didn't really want to use that because we've talked about that already. But that was the word that everybody said. Mm-hmm. So I was like, I guess I'm going to stick to it.
Is the consistency.
Is the consistency.
I think there's a lot of words that you could probably use. I mean, you've done a really good job with like owning your brand, promoting your brand, and consistency with anything is key, right?
Yep.
But I mean, for you, starting out the way you did in real estate, where people didn't really have a brand, and then you come out, you have a brand, and you're consistent with it. I mean, it just shows why you can close 120 million, over 400 units, and that speaks to the power of the word brand. I think
so too.
Yeah. Let's see, best piece of branding advice you've ever gotten.
I'm going to say early on, when I started trying to kind of form what I wanted to do and who I was in real estate, I was told to be real. So I think that would just be, in a nutshell, is be real. You put on a facade, no matter what your brand is, no matter what you do for a living, but you put on a facade for your brand, and then when you're in private, it's different.
Right.
People
it comes
know.
Through.
It comes through.
It's very disingenuous,
yes,
right? It's
very
kind of
much
like
so.
if your brand feels fake, it is fake.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yep.
No. So then on the flip side, what's the best piece of branding advice that you wish that you had gotten?
So
because we all look back and we'll be like when I first started, I was Don A. Blaize, Coast Premier Mortgage Specialist. That was kind of my brand, but I didn't build it as much as I could have.
Right.
And I wish somebody at that point would have said, "Hey, you can use this, but I mean, to build a bigger, broader brand, which I've done marketing throughout the Southeast. Now I'm not just geographically limited to Mississippi, Louisiana, Alabama. I decided to the Coast Premier Mortgage Specialist. I got Florida, Louisiana, Mississippi, Alabama. So I'm kind of expanding that brand that way. And I wish somebody would have told me a lot earlier in my career, don't stay small-minded.
Don't put yourself in a box.
Yeah.
And I think I would go along with that. I would say don't put yourself in a box would be great advice that I wish I would have got then. And I think, depending on who you're marketing to as your brand, you do kind of put yourself in a box. Like if I'm only going to deal with my friends, or if I'm only going to deal with military, or, I would say don't put yourself in a box there. If it's your specialty, by all means, brand it that way, but don't limit yourself. Have, like we talked about earlier, 2 or 3 different avenues.
Right.
So that way when military is not moving, something else takes up that gap.
Yeah, you got to have to think about that. Is it a sustainable brand? Because not every brand is sustainable.
Yep.
It's awesome. So if you had a theme song, what would it be?
So I went through every 90s hip-hop song that I could think of.
ChatGPT.
Yes. I tried, but nothing really fit the brand.
Not the Eye of the Tiger?
Well,
that's a brand.
So I wrote down 2, and what I came up with was Lean on Me, because I feel like we do try to help our clients enough to where they can lean on us. If they have questions, if they have problems, lean on us. And then the other one says, I'll be there for you. And that's the Friends theme song. And that was one that really came to mind.
I actually do kind of like that.
I like that one.
You should probably use that in the video.
I might be able to do that.
Collage of like all your closings from the month.
I may be able to do that.
That would be a fun little thing. I don't know. I think my song would be Pink Pony Club. No, I'm joking. But you had to think about it. I haven't even thought about like if there was a song that would go with my
That
brand.
was because I was thinking of the music that I grew up with, that I liked, that I that kind of thing, and nothing really fit to the brand or to the
right.
But I tried.
So okay, advice for listeners. Okay.
Okay.
If a new agent is listening today and feeling stuck, what's the first? We're going to talk about a couple of them. But what's the first branding move they should make today? If somebody is a new agent, and there's plenty of them out there.
Right.
I mean, I don't even know how many agents are in our MLS now, but so many agents get a license.
I think there's like 2,200.
22. But there's so many agents get a license, but then they have no idea what to do because. And just same thing in the mortgage industry.
Yeah.
You
pass the test.
a test, and then you're like, now what? Not everybody has a Jason Bergdorf.
I agree.
Or a Don Blaize or anybody else. So they have to figure out like what's the next step, and that's why we're here to talk about branding.
Right.
But for a new agent, what's the first step for you? Would you think the first branding move?
I would say pick something that you enjoy, no matter if
that's
it's
key.
Well, like in boating. Or if you go to, in my history, it's car shows, things like that, classic cars, things. Or if it's concerts or, playing Dungeons and Dragons or, whatever that may be. Pick something that you like and associate to it and market toward the people that like that same thing, because I think that's what's going to...
Birds of a feather flock together.
That's it. They're going to deal with you because they like what you deal with.
Yeah, and I think
y'all have something in common.
I think more agents need to take branding seriously because it's kind of like you said, you pick something you like.
Right.
I have one loan officer, she loves pickleball, and I'm like, well, use that to your advantage.
And right now, that would be a great time to do it.
So use it to your
advantage. It is huge.
You could be the pickleball mortgage queen.
That's it.
But you got to think outside the box, and you got to think bigger than what it is. So that's awesome for that.
And I mean, I wrote down also, it doesn't matter if it's a phrase, if it's a look, the clothing that you wear, cars, shoes, no matter what you're into interest-wise, but you have to make it your brand, because if you're interested in it, other people are as well.
Right. Yeah. So what's next for you? Any branding moves, content drops, community plays we should look out for?
So I'll say this. I do have some things in the works, but nothing to really discuss as far as like content drops or anything like that. But I'm working on some stuff. Mm-hmm. So be tuned or stay tuned or however you want to say that. Now, as far as community, I do a lot, and I do a lot with outreach for community outreach. And we do have a couple of things coming up.
Like what?
We have the Carter's Champions Pink Dress Run in October for breast cancer awareness.
That's such an awesome thing. And the Carters do such an amazing job every year raise. How much money did they raise last year?
It was 127 or something like that.
And that's another amazing brand that, what did you immediately think of? A pink ribbon, right?
Right.
And that pink ribbon is you automatically think of breast cancer.
Right.
So that in itself, you have to remember an inanimate object can be part of your brand.
Yep, absolutely. And it's something, and all of the funds from that, the whole Carter's Champions Foundation goes straight to Memorial Foundation. It stays local. Mm-hmm. So that's a big deal with that, and that's why I do a lot with that. My mom's still going through treatments for breast cancer, so that holds a special part in my heart. So I will be involved with that no matter what.
Oh, that is awesome.
Another thing that we're doing is Asher's Army, which is also cancer. It's for childhood cancer.
Right.
So they're raising funds. So they're doing a golf tournament in October for that.
Well,
so those are two things coming up.
You're a busy guy. You got a lot of stuff going on. Did you ever think 9 years ago when you started in real estate that you'd be over $120 million worth of production and you would be coming up on almost 500 homeowners. Did you ever think that would even be possible?
Never.
That just shows the value, the power of a brand.
Yes.
You know, that's awesome. Well, that's a wrap for today's episode. I want to thank Randy Richardson for showing up for Deals, Dollars, and Don, episode number 2, where we get the deals and help you get them to the table. Today's about branding. Branding starts number 1. I'm Don, Randy Richardson. Thank you for coming, and we'll see you on the next episode. Hey guys, hope you got a little bit of nugget off today's episode of Deals and Dollars with Don. I am Don. Thank you for joining today's podcast, and if you liked it, please subscribe. See you on the next episode.